we're going to move to the next item on our agenda, which is honoring Pride Month. Our precinct committee members, Joan Arrow, has a presentation for us.
Thank you so much, Anne, and it's a pleasure to get the chance to chat with you all. My name is Joan, and I'm the lead LGBTQ organizer working with the coalition to end the filibuster. Actually, fun note, we are also parts, the filibuster covers issues, from the Equality Act, which I'm personally fighting for, to the PRO Act, which the AFL-CIO are fighting for, and voting rights, everything in between. So I thought I would just give everyone an update on the progress that we've been making as a coalition. As we all are hopefully aware, if we've been, paying attention to the news, Kyrsten Sinema has been disappointing us kind of routinely. Most recently, when she called the January 6th commission a critical vote, but then didn't show up for that vote when Republicans filibustered it and killed the bipartisan investigation into the terrorist attack on January 6th. In addition, more recently, Joe Biden himself has called out Sinema and Joe Manchin by name for, quote, voting more with Republicans. And I really think there's, a lot of frustration in Washington, and that's really reflected here in Arizona with many of the organizers that I've been talking to as well. And then, of course, we have the earliest example of Kyrsten Sinema kind of going back on her word. Back when she was campaigning, she sent out some tweets saying that raising the minimum wage to $15 was, quote, a no-brainer. And then this graphic was made when she kind of very artfully thumbed down and effectively killed that $15 minimum wage hike in the Senate. So switching over from talking about what she is doing, let's talk now about what we are accomplishing. So at the last month, our coalition organized rallies in Phoenix. We had over 250 people turn out. We had demonstrators up to 100 in Tucson as well, and we even had fantastic organizers here in Flagstaff calling for the ending of the filibuster. Wasn't significant enough. That following weekend, the Arizona Democratic Party passed a resolution which we helped to author with 91% of the vote, solidifying and uniting the Arizona Democratic Party in a call for Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly to publicly come out in support of either ending the filibuster or substantially reforming it so that we can get this blockade removed in Washington and pass some of the legislation that we fought so hard for in the 2020 election. My part of this process is helping to escalate pressure on Kyrsten Sinema. Specifically, what we are accomplishing is we are going to be releasing an LGBTQ letter on June 15th. We already have a phenomenal support by very prominent Arizona LGBTQ organizations and community leaders, including the organization 1 in 10, GLSEN, the Arizona Trans Youth and Parent Organization, and more. We are close to our goal of 100 general LGBTQ, signatures from members of the LGBTQ community, and this link here on the slide, you can personally use. I encourage you, if you are not LGBTQ, to share it far and wide within your personal networks so that we can hit our 100 signature goal, so that we can have a strong petition release on June 15th. In addition, we had some of our organizers help create this this graphic, which I will include. If we can share this in our personal networks, print it out, make it visible. We really want to make it easy for people to realize for queer and trans civil rights through passing the Equality Act. And this fight is incredibly personal for me. Being a student at NAU, I did not feel safe to come out, even to my close family, as transgender until I had the chance to graduate and go to graduate school in Canada, where there are, laws on the books that prevent people like me from being fired from my job for being transgender, or from being refused a lease for being transgender. And I know very personally many trans and queer people in Arizona who face similar fear and discrimination in our state. And because we have Kirsten Sinema and the chance to put direct pressure on the opposition to progress, we have a unique responsibility to help this get passed. Beyond the push for LGBTQ rights, in order to really escalate the pressure beyond just sign, which I recognize may have limited impact on Sinema's thinking, we are organizing some sit-ins in Kirsten Sinema's office in Phoenix on June 22nd. This is kind of taking the spirit from many of the actions that were taken during the civil rights movement, as well as more recently when Dreamers mobilized to put pressure on Barack Obama to pass, to sign an executive order giving them DACA protections. Sit-ins were a primary tool that were used for these undocumented people to risk arrest and generate that kind of public outcry when we see folks who are just trying to fight for their rights and who are getting arrested. That was what ended up carrying the day for our Dreamers to get them DACA protection. And with this sign up link, which I'll share in the chat, we can, we have folks in Flagstaff who are getting together, whether you would be willing, to be one of those people who risks arrest, all the way up to, we need people to support, if you've got a car and you're willing to give some folks a ride, or if you just want to make a sign and show up in solid together, some amazing organizers and organizations. And the June 22nd is going to be really our kickoff for what we're hoping will become a series of sit-ins, which become, coalition based. So for example, an LGBTQ sit-in, a union organizers sit-in. We've got Black faith leaders who want to talk about voting rights. All of those actions are going to be important. For this upcoming June 22nd sit-in, we have a virtual info session. If you want to get more information and think about seriously whether you might be willing to participate, that's coming up on the 17th, and you can get more information if you sign up at this link. Which once you do that, you'll then get information on our on-site training, which will be on June 21st. And to kind of put this in perspective, the reason we're pushing to do this on the 22nd is we are expecting that the For the People Act, which is what we really need, as I'm sure most of you are aware, to push back against the over 350 Republican Senate state legislature bills, which are trying to attack voting rights in every direction. I think the most famous example of that was when they made it illegal to give water to people in line to vote in Georgia. That bill that would prevent malicious laws like that, we're expecting is going to come to a vote in the Senate on the 21st of June, and we are expecting that it will be filibustered. So the hope is that the outrage from the, filibustering of the For the People Act, combined with this forward momentum on our part, will really help advance the issue and escalate that direct pressure on Sinema to come over to the right side of history and do what it's going to take to deliver for Arizona that kind of bold change that we need to see. With that, I just want to thank everyone for your attention. I, again, appreciate the chance to speak to the Coconino County Democratic Party. Flagstaff is my home. Although I am currently attending graduate school in Canada, the plan has always been to, make the Pines and make the mountains, a regular part of my life. And my hope is that by the time I'm ready to come home, we get this Equality Act passed and I'm able to live, freely and openly as myself, as a transgender person. And, before I wrap up, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I did just want to acknowledge that today is the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, which claimed the lives of 49 of our LGBTQ people. And, hate crimes like this are just a reality for many of the people in my community who don't have the chance to live in safer, more liberal areas. And that's really why I'm motivated today to try and make sure that we pass the Equality Act to provide legal protection for all of our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joan. That